Welcome to The Landlady Listens. The podcast where we talk all things real estate, development, and the mindset it takes to build your dream life.
Okay, hey guys. It's Landlady.
I'm your host, Meg Hayden, real estate broker, new construction expert, and a believer in making big visions into a reality. So if you're ready to build it, dream it, and live it, let's dive in. Welcome to The Landlady Listens, the podcast where we talk all things real estate, development, and the mindset it takes to build your dream life. I'm your host, Meg Hayden, real estate broker, new construction expert, mom of two, and a believer that we can make our big visions into a reality. If you're a developer looking to maximize your next project, or an investor searching for creative strategies, or someone ready to level up your mindset and wealth, you're in the right place. We are super excited to have this duo today. I am joined by the powerhouse team, father and daughter attorney duo, and today we're going to break down the world of tax sales. And we're also going to look at some different strategies, both in self-directed IRAs and private funding. So introduce yourself, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us. Go ahead.
Thank you, Meg. My name is Glenn and Andreoni. Thanks for listening in. I've been an attorney for about 33, 34 years now. My office is on 628 George Washington Highway in Lincoln. I do a couple things. I have a company called Rhode Island Tax Titles that we pretty much represent municipalities and do their tax sales. We do all the title work and we conduct the actual tax sale, which we'll get into detail as we go along here. I also do a lot of private financing, and I also do a lot of self-directed on three topics, investing basically through the private financing. And sometimes I don't really flip properties anymore, but I have in the past. And this is my daughter,
Brianna Andreoni, well. And I've been an attorney for about 3 years now at Andreoni Law Group.
Yeah. Oh, we did change the name. It used to be Law Offices of Glenn Andreoni. We
now
changed it
Andreoni
recently.
Law Group.
That was Brianna's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But, feel free to ask any questions, and we'll kind of move along.
So, all right. So let's start off with these tax sales. Like, what is a tax sale? Who would be someone? Just tell us about tax sales. Who would be someone who'd be good at this?
So, investors. So, tax sales in the state of Rhode Island, that's a little different. But in Rhode Island, basically, if you don't pay your real estate taxes as well as sewer and water, then the way for municipality to collect that is to do a tax sale on the property. So let's say that you live in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and you don't pay your 2023 taxes. The municipality will basically auction off your house, and we call it a super lien. It's a super priority lien whereby whoever buys that tax sale, again, I'll get into the whole aspect of buying a tax sale, can end up with the property free and clear. So that super lien could potentially wipe out a mortgage, an IRS lien, an execution. It's a very powerful tool, basically, that the legislature in Rhode Island created. So what happens is...
They're like, taxes!
Yeah, right. Taxes, super taxes. So what happens is that my office, and we probably represent about 75% of municipalities, like we have Pawtucket, Warwick, West Warwick, East Providence, Barterville, North Smithfield, about 75% of the state of Rhode Island, Westerly. So what happens is they'll give my office a list. We then, by law, have to send out notices to the taxpayer, what's called a 90-day notice, 90 days before the tax sale. All right, saying that if you don't pay your taxes, we're going to put your property up for tax sale. And that notice looks like it's actually coming from my office. Looks like it's coming from municipality. So at that point, and that's by regular mail, at that point, I would say 60 to 70% of the people then pay the taxes. In between that period and 40 days before the tax sale, okay, we're doing basically a title examination. A quick rundown to see what the status of the title is. Because then at the 40-day mark, we then send out more notices, certified letters, as well as regular mail, to not only the taxpayer, but the lien holders of that property. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, IRAs, credit card company if there's a lien. So we'll send out notices. At the 40-day mark, technically we don't have to do it until the 20-day mark with respect to lien holders, but we do all the notices at the 40-day mark to give the lien holders enough time. It's just easier. It's better because it gives the lien holders time because, if you're Bank of America, you're getting all these notices from Rhode Island, from California, from Florida, from all over the Connecticut. And so, we're doing, and we might be doing, 1,000 notices for municipality. So basically it gives the lien holder enough time to read it, figure out what's going on, and pay the taxes to preserve their mortgage. And that, again, generally speaking, most people with mortgages, the majority of them have, their taxes escrowed into their mortgage payment. So it's generally not late. However, water and sewer, they don't. So a lot of times the water and sewer taxes, the municipality gets it, and they're all confused, so they'll call, strike that. The lien holder gets it, let's call it Bank of America, gets the notice, and they'll call up, City Pawtucket and say, I just got this notice. I don't understand it. And if they don't pay, they get wiped out. Their lien gets wiped out. So, and I'm going at a good pace. So interrupt me if you
So you're saying, so the bank gets notice that they're
going up, the property's going up for tax sale.
Do they pay off? Will they yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Oh, because they're so big, they make mistakes. They
don't notice. Someone doesn't
goes
get the
in
notice.
a pile. Right. So it goes in a pile, and off many, many times it goes in a pile, and they just don't get to it until, a year later. So, or they get the notice and they say, well, we don't pay the water and sewer. We only pay the real estate taxes. So this has nothing to do with us. Not realizing it does have something to do with you because it'll wipe out your mortgage. Right. So that's at the 40-day mark we sound out certified. And then, a good portion of the bills get paid from the 40-day period to the actual tax sale date. So now let's bring us to the tax sale. So at the tax sale.
So out of the 1,000 notices that you're sending, I mean, how many are going up to
over 1,000?
Yeah, let's say.
I'm just saying, what would your numbers
percentage? We might send out 2,000 notices for big, larger municipality, but for small, Harrisville, or for small fire district or water district, might be only 50 notices that go out. But ultimately, I know what you're asking me. At the tax sale, out of the 2,000, probably 200.
Okay.
We'll go up for tax sale. Yeah, maybe 10%. It's hard, the percentage. Everything's different.
Yeah.
I tried to figure that out one time.
Every year is different, and then every town.
And are you seeing any increases in that lately?
Yes. Actually, we are. We're starting to see it. When the economy's bad, it tends to pick up. But, it's strange because with real estate being so high, the values, right, I'm surprised that we're seeing an increase in tax sales. Frankly.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
I feel like people can't afford anything.
So traditionally, and years ago, I used to do a lot of short sales. I had I think 15 people working for me just doing short sales years ago. And short sales would run hand in hand with tax sales. When the short sales pick up, the tax sales pick up. It's very odd. And
so you might need to hire. Start
yeah,
thinking about hiring.
I don't think I want to do short sales again, but the closings slow down a little bit. So for some bizarre reason, again, the tax sales are picking up. I don't know why. I can't figure it out because I don't think a lot of people are upside down with their mortgages that I know of. But maybe
I think people who even bought like a couple of years ago, if they have tenants too that aren't paying or what have you, I think that there's definitely a lot more coming up for sure. I actually just talked to an appraiser yesterday, and I was asking him more about like foreclosures and stuff like that. He said that actually a lot of the foreclosures that he saw happening were from people who were still taking the forbearance from COVID.
Yeah.
And then they, balloon
Right.
payment.
It's over. And
Yeah,
wow.
It's done.
That's a great point, actually.
Yeah.
That's a real good point. Yeah.
So, all right. So
let's speed up to the tax sale.
So we're back to the tax sale.
Right. Very interesting. So, and again, these tax sales are advertised on the municipality's website too. You can see the property addresses, right?
How many times a year is it just once a year? How many?
For the most part,
once a year.
Yeah. Some larger municipalities may do it twice, but for the most
part, is it in
the
springtime? Like when's the timing? It's the springtime, right?
It's pretty much now. We're in the middle of tax sale season right now.
So we should all be having our
we're doing Central
assistants
Falls.
look up every single.
Yeah, we're doing Central Falls this week. What else we have? I think we have Central Falls Thursday, June 5th. I don't know, if they know the date. And then what do we have? Exeter Fire this Friday, June 6th. Last Thursday, what do we have?
And what? So what? So all the houses go up at the same time?
Yeah. So what happens?
Tell us that process.
So what happens is, at the tax sale itself, there's an auctioneer. The municipality hires an auctioneer, a certified auctioneer, just like a regular foreclosure. And the people register at the desk. It's my office is at the front of the desk, and they register, and we give them a number on a card. Believe it or not, there's a number, and they register. There's no cost to register. They receive a number. We give them a card. Then they go sit down. That takes, again, depending on how large the tax sale is, that could take an hour and a half, or that could take 10 minutes to register the people. So, like, what do we have? We had Warwick, I think, last week, and there were a lot of people there. So it took us quite a while to register everybody. So then everybody sits down, and let's say the tax sale starts at 10. It's very, very unique. My office will then specifically state, what the property address is, the owners, the plat and lot, and the amount that the property is being auctioned off for. And then, boom, you see a bunch of paddles go up, basically. A bunch of numbers go up. Then the auctioneer will just pick a number, 15. Then that person who gets it, 15, number 15, will say, I'll take 100% or 1%. What does that mean?
So what does that mean?
Yeah,
so very confusing.
Yeah, it gets confusing. So the person that generally they want to get 100%. So let's say the taxes are $4,500, right? So whether they get it at 100% or 1%, they still have to pay $4,500. All right. So if we say Meg Hayden's property in East Providence is going up for tax sale, 123 Park Avenue, East Providence, Rhode Island, assessed supply 6, lot 83, $4,500. Boom, bunch of paddles go up, right? 15. I'll take it at 100%.
Yeah.
Right? The state law in Rhode Island says that the lowest percentage bidder, it's really tricky, gets the property. What does that mean? That means 100 or 1 or 50% or 42%. We as a municipality still will collect the $4,500, right? So it doesn't affect us. But
we don't care what your percent is. And the percent is what you charge on that tax, like that amount.
Nope.
What is it?
So the percentage affects the person, number 15, who bought it. All right, let's pretend it's Brianna. Brianna bought the tax sale, right? She's number 15, and she got it at 1%. She still has to pay
because somebody outbid me. I said 100.
Well, no, somebody else said 100, and she went 1%. Boom, right? So that means the municipality, she still has to pay East Providence $4,500 within an hour of the tax sale, roughly, maybe 2 hours. Sometimes it's certified. Every municipality is different. Sometimes they want certified checks. Sometimes they'll take escrow checks. Sometimes they'll take business checks. So that means that Brianna has to bring a check for $4,500, and then we give her a collector's, basically a tax sale deed. So what that means is now Brianna, who paid $4,500, can get a 10% flat return the first 6 months, whether it's day 2 or 5 months and 30 days. She gets 10%. She gets $450. Right? So it's a pretty good return annually.
From who? From the owner.
From whoever, if the people decide to redeem it. The people being the taxpayer, the lien holders, being the Bank of America in our situation or our example, or being the IRAs, or anybody that has an interest can redeem it to protect their interest. Mostly it's the lenders, actually. Sometimes it's the owners. So let's say 2 months and 5 days, somebody goes in, they'll go to the city of East Providence, and they'll say, I need to redeem this. I need a redemption figure. So the city will give them redemption numbers, what it costs them to pay us, what it costs them to pay the auctioneer, and that 10% return. So then the people will pay the $4,500 plus fees, and they'll also 10%. Give the extra $450. So Brianna just made more than a 20% annual return because she just got $450. This sounds small, but if you're doing hundreds of these a year, thousands a year, you're getting a good return on your money, right? Because
there's like a whole
calculation.
Well, there's also just like people that do that
for
their
main
as their main gig,
right.
Which I hadn't realized. I was talking to my friend about the tax sale that he just went and got,
which was what municipality? Do you remember?
Was West Warwick.
Yeah, I did it. We did the tax sale for West Warwick. Yeah,
but
we just did it.
But he was saying, you put the 100% up or the 1%, and he just said 1%. So that he's not going to make any money. He'd rather just get the house.
So it's kind of the opposite. So what happens is it's really tricky. If you don't understand it, nobody does. It takes a while. I could spend 4 hours really, really articulating. But so generally, if you get it at 1%,
yeah,
you don't really want the house because you're gonna get 1% ownership of the house. You want to get 100% ownership of the house. But if you get it at 1% and they redeem it, you're still getting your flat 10% return on the full $4,500. So again, 1% versus 100% has nothing to do with your return or nothing to do with the municipality. It only has to do with after a year from the tax sale, right? And the taxpayer or the lien holder did not redeem it because they have what's called automatic redemption, right? Meaning that the person who bought the tax sale cannot petition the court to foreclose that right of redemption, which Brianna's done many of those. Then basically they'll get that return back. They'll get the 10%. But if they now want to bring a petition to foreclose the right of redemption, which Brianna can explain it to you, it's basically going to court, superior court. It's kind of like a rubber stamp. You have to give notices all over again, and the judge generally grants it. But if you get it at 1%, then you only get 1% of the property.
Oh.
Right. But if you get it at 100%, which is what most tax sales go for, except your friend in West Warwick.
Well, I guess I must have been wrong because it's just whatever percent
No,
he
maybe,
getting
no,
on
he,
the...
He
no,
probably,
he probably
wanted
did get
the
it at
return.
No.
Money.
He probably got it. Somebody probably bid him or whatever. He probably did get it at 1%. But the people that don't understand, when they go bring a petition to foreclose, they only get 1% of the property, which is better than zero, by the way. The seller can't sell it, without getting that 1% owner. But then to do anything, you might have to go to Superior Court again, bring a petition.
So not 1%. Just 100%.
So you want to try to get it at 100%, unless you're looking for that return on your money of, again, 10% flat fee the first 6 months, which annually is a 20% return on your money. So if you have hundreds of thousands of dollars out there, you're getting a 20. That's 20% if they redeem it, 6 months. But if they redeem it 1 month, you just got $450. In 1 month on your money, again, using my example, with a $4,500 return. I mean, it was just one in Warwick that sold for $460,000, I think, or $360,000, something like that. They're going to get $36 or $46,000 in a week, maybe if they redeem it. That's a pretty good return. That's a 10% return in a week, which is annually is
and then
120%.
Some of them, I just did one that it was that went up for tax sale in 2002. It's now 2025, so all of that interest accumulates.
And you can just hold it for as long as you want, or like
yeah,
when?
so you can continue to collect that interest, right? But generally you don't. Generally, after a year, the tax sale purchaser wants to go to court and grab the property. So what happens there? Okay, so you wait a year. Let me give you one more example. Let's say it's after 6 months now, 7 months, right? After the first 6 months, day one to, the first 6 months, what's that day, whatever, right? Flat 10%. 6 months and 1 day to 12 to the day that the petition's brought is 1% per month thereafter. So it's a flat 1%, whether it's, March 1st or March 28th, it's a flat 1% on that return. So every month that goes after, you get 1%, 1%. So if you're holding it, you're getting a 12% return, right? 10% first 6 months, flat fee, 1% thereafter, until the petition to foreclose is granted. Now, what's a petition to foreclose? All right, Brianna, what is that?
So it's pretty simple. You just file a petition with the court.
An attorney does it.
An attorney should do it. You file a petition with the court, and you file in the land evidence records a notice, basically putting on everyone on notice saying that this property is being foreclosed on. Next up is you hire a title examiner that the court approves, and that title examiner then runs a title and then gives you all of the lien holders, kind of like when you first started to do the tax sale, gives you all of the lien holders to make sure you're noticing everybody. So you have to notice all of the respondents, aka the original owners, again, and all of the lien holders again. So you notice all of those individuals, and you usually do it by certified mail, and you have to receive the returned receipt back. And if you don't do that, then you get it back. You have to advertise to make sure all of these people are noticed. Once you do that, you have to wait 20 days, and then somebody can answer, basically saying, I want to redeem this property. Do not foreclose on my property. Stop. If they don't answer, then you can go to court, and as long as you prove to the court that you issued all of the proper notices, they'll grant a final decree to foreclose the right of redemption, and then you record a notice of disposal that proves that you now own the property. There is a 6-month appeal period where technically somebody can come in and appeal the foreclosure, but normally that doesn't happen because you noticed them a million times before.
So during that 6 months, it's really difficult to get title insurance. So most of these tax sale purchases, they'll bring the petition, they'll get it granted. It's like hitting Powerball, by the way. So think about it. The first 6 months and thereafter, you're getting a darn good return if they redeem it, right, on your money. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, you just paid $6,000, and then another. How much is a petition to foreclose roughly? $5,000 with everything as an attorney, with attorney's fees. Let's say $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly. So you get $11,000, and they didn't redeem it, and now you go to court, and now you own a $320,000 property, free and clear, no mortgages, no liens. So it's like hitting Powerball. Now the majority of the people, redeem it basically.
But you're still making 10%.
The first 20% return because the first 6 months.
Just the first 6 months, but still the 10%.
Flat 10% first 6 months. Where do you get? Where do you pay $4,500 and get $450 guaranteed from day one to 6 months basically, and then 1% thereafter?
Yeah.
Right. So and then worst case is okay. I got a good return on my money, but they didn't redeem it. Now I hit Powerball, and now I get the property free and clear.
And so I guess that actually goes probably really well into our self-directed IRA aspect, right?
Good segue.
You're welcome.
So that's
I'm here to do it.
I'm running out of time, so sometimes I talk a little too much, but So what's a self-directed IRA? So everything you can do. So traditionally, people think in an IRA they can buy mutual funds, stocks, bonds, and you're limited in an IRA, right? For the most part, Morgan Stanley, Fidelity limits you as to what you can buy.
It's in the box.
It's in the box.
It's in the
right.
yeah.
Right.
We want to be out of the matrix.
Correct.
Or in the matrix. I don't know
So
which one
right.
it is.
So people don't realize that you can actually buy real estate or give a loan, buy a tax sale. You can do anything within an IRA. It's called a self-directed IRA. Now, traditionally, Fidelity, Morgan Stanley, they're not going to allow you to do this. They have set funds and set stocks within that box that you can invest in. But there's companies that are called, for instance, I use this company called Directed Trust. This attorney, Matt Sorensen. Google him at some point.
I've heard. Oh, yeah, I heard him talk.
I know
the other
Matt
day,
very
yeah.
well. Yes. He's very good. He's got great, very, very, very sharp. That's a long story. I found Matt years ago. I did self-direct. I still do it, but years ago I couldn't find anybody that knew what they were doing. He had a great background, great attorney. He very knowledgeable, but because there's a lot of tax implications. So you can basically do, if you're an investor and you buy and sell real estate, you can buy it in your retirement and sell it, that particular property. Now, there's certain things that are prohibited, like technically if you buy it, let's say in your Roth retirement, right? There's a difference between a Roth, regular IRA, not to get into detail with that, but let's say hypothetically you buy it, like from my situation, I have formed LLCs that are managed by me personally, but owned by my Roth. Okay, the members are my Roth, but the manager's me. So I generally don't buy and sell real estate, but I have. I give a lot of private financing through my retirement.
Through your self-directed IRA.
Yeah, you can self-direct an IRA. You can self-direct a health savings account, a 401k. It's amazing, and people don't realize that. Do you remember when Mitt Romney ran for president?
Yes, everyone talks about this. Yeah,
correct. He had like $200 million in his IRA because he was self-directing. He worked for Bain Capital at the time. I think he still does, and he was doing self-directing through his IRA. Well, that's what a lot of what's his name? Thies? I can't remember his name. He's a billionaire basically. He does a lot of self-directing IRAs, investing. I think he did PayPal. I'm not sure, but anyways, so so a lot of investors, for instance, or developers, right? The investor might say, "Oh God, I'm tapped out. I don't have enough money now to do another deal, but I have $200,000 sitting in my IRA, or $100,000, or $10,000." You can actually buy property. You can move that over from wherever it is, Morgan Stanley. You can move it over to a self-directed company. Again, I'm going to plug Directed Trust because I'm affiliated with them and I use them a lot. They're out in Arizona. Big company, great company. And you can move your money to them, and then you can direct them to invest it. They'll get them. If you don't do a lot, it's no sense in doing an LLC. But you can have them direct that money to an attorney, the escrow attorney. You can't touch the money, all right? And that attorney now will use that money to close. And then you can get a loan from somebody like myself. I lend to IRAs. It's called a non-recourse loan. My IRA might lend to somebody else's IRA, non-recourse loan, and then that person can buy the property in the IRA. They can do assignments in the IRA. A lot of people will get on a contract for $5,000-$10,000 and get somebody to buy the contract off them for $20,000, and their IRA just doubled the money. Or their cover deal, if they have young children, they want to put education money aside. Cover deal is similar to a 529, but you can self-direct a cover deal. Or their health savings account, or their 401k, or their non-Roth retirement. So many things that people just aren't educated on, but it's starting to become more popular.
Well, it's funny because I had one of my clients, I told them, well, you can move. And, well, there's one question I have. When you moved your Roth IRA to a self-directed IRA, you had talked about some tax implications.
So if it's a Roth to a Roth, it's like moving it from Fidelity to Morgan Stanley. There's no tax implications, right? Because this company that I use, there's quite a few companies, by the way. This directed trust company, they're a custodian. So it's moving it from Fidelity to Morgan Stanley. It's the same thing, but just directed allows you to invest in. You can still invest, by the way, in stocks.
So you're not going to. There's no tax implications from moving it.
Correct. The tax implication arises when you're taking a regular IRA and converting it to a Roth, because when you put money into a regular IRA, you got a tax deduction, right? And then with a regular IRA, I call it regular, there's 401ks, it's just a non-Roth IRA, we'll call it. I'm not an accountant either, by the way, nor am I a tax attorney, but generally speaking, a non-Roth IRA, you deduct the money going in, right? You made $60,000 that year and you put $5,000 into your IRA. That $5,000 came off your income tax, right? With a Roth IRA, if you put $5,000 in because you made $60,000, you didn't get to deduct that. However, that $5,000, we call it seed money, right? If that grows into a tree, the seed grows into a tree, it's all tax-free. So when you take it out, when you become my age, I'm 59 and a half, actually I'm almost 60. When you become 59 and a half, you can take it out tax-free. So the seed, you didn't get a tax deduction, grew into a tree. Now the tree, would you rather have to pay tax on the seed or the tree?
Yeah.
Right? So the tree now is all tax-free. You can take it out. It's a Roth, and that's got nothing to do necessarily with a self-directed IRA versus a regular IRA. It's got to do with a Roth IRA versus a traditional IRA. So that's a little different,
Yeah, but it was funny. I had a client, and I just told them that they could buy this real estate using a self-directed IRA. And the financial advisor was like,
because they don't deal with self. Think about, how's a financial advisor get paid?
I don't care. Right?
They don't. First of all, most.
I don't care. It's like you're just supposed to be there to educate people.
They're not educated on that. How my account? I have a.
You should be educated on that. It's part of
25 years ago, I think I started doing this. My accountant, who's with a big accounting firm, who's a shop accountant, who's with a big firm, had no idea what I was talking about when I said I want to start.
I mean, now you could look it up. I mean, you could
ChatGPT. Well, financial planners, they get
a lot of nuance.
They get fees based on where they, they're not going to get a fee if they go to, if you move your money over, because you don't need them anymore. Because you're now the manager. You're managing your own money. You don't need a financial advisor.
I know.
Why do you? Well, your financial advisor's not going to go look at some house in East Providence to see whether or not it's a good deal to buy and flip, right?
No,
you're going to make the decisions.
I'm just saying, I just believe that, if someone's interested in doing part of it, they could take a part of it to buy just a small condo,
Yeah.
But,
you have to educate yourself. Self-directed IRAs, you're now in charge of your money. It's a wonderful thing because the fees are a lot less, by the way. They charge, directed charge this minimal fee to open the account and a minimal fee to every year, minimal fees, a lot less than, the traditional fees that you pay with, a financial advisor.
So for the self-directed IRA, when you're thinking about this, you're like, okay, now I am the creator of my destiny. Where are you investing? So you're able to
wherever
buy
you want.
Wherever you want.
You can still buy. It's still your retirement. You can still buy stocks. You can still buy crypto. You can still, but the traditional self-directed IRA person invests in real estate. I don't anymore. I just do lending through it for the most part.
Yeah, that's the other thing that people can do, hard money lending.
Hard money lending.
Which would go right into our last segment.
Right.
Oh.
But just to wrap up self-directed IRAs, if anybody who's listening has questions, they should email Meg. And then, Meg, you just copy me and I can guide them. There's so many.
There's a lot of rules that you didn't mention.
Yeah. Well, there's prohibited transaction. You can't buy a two-family. Or you can't, let's say, buy a house on the beach in Narragansett through your retirement and go use it. You can't use it. It's prohibited. It's got to be
go there for a weekend.
Right. It's investment property.
Yeah.
So you're not.
So you have to pay for it into let's say it was an Airbnb. Right.
You can do that. Airbnb.
I would have to pay Airbnb.
No, because your retirement is now, you personally are benefiting through your retirement. You can't do that. You can't put money back into your retirement way. It's like a backdoor way. It's what's called a prohibited transaction.
So,
just like
So you wouldn't
So
be
we
able
can't
to
use
stay
it.
there. Exactly.
okay.
the example I like to
Maybe a tent.
use.
Pitch a tent in the back.
The example I like to
serious.
use is a framer, right? Person who frames for a living buys a vacant lot, right, through his IRA or her IRA, right, and wants to do the framing. They can't do it. They can't you can't benefit. It's a prohibited transaction. So you have to hire independent people, or a painter who buys a 3-family can't technically paint the house because it's prohibited. So you can't benefit. You can't get a benefit out of your IRA, basically.
So you can't
You
even
can't
work
work.
on
It's
the
prohibited.
property?
No, you're not supposed to. It's supposed to be an investment only, and you're supposed to have third parties that are not. And by the way, your children and parents are also prohibited too. Your siblings aren't, oddly enough. Your brother or sister can paint, can frame, oddly enough. But your parents up and down, your children cannot. So it's prohibited.
Okay.
So you can do, for younger people such as yourself, unlike myself, who have younger children, you can, if you want a college education, right, and you see a good deal, what you should do is open up a cover deal, right?
A what?
A cover deal account.
Okay.
It's like a 529 plan. It's an education plan for your children. Open it up. You could put $2,000 into it. Get a property under contract. Say you're going to flip it, right? Assign the contract. Assign it to somebody that wants to buy it, and just say, give me, $10,000 extra. You can do the deal. Now you just $2,000 investment made you $10,000 tax free in your child's education. You can do it for $100,000. You can do it for $1 million. You can do it for anything. I'm just giving an example of $2,000 because you don't have. In other words, if you only have $1,000 or $2,000 in your cover deal, you can still make a tremendous amount of money by doing assignments, or for that matter, buy it and get a non-recourse loan. So there's so many things you can do. What I suggest, if you're getting in real estate, is to call you, and you can certainly get in touch with me or Brianna, and we'll kind of guide you, or in your client.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Tell us about the private financing.
Yeah, so private financing is it's unlike institutional financing where you have to wait a month and a half, apply, do loan applications, and institutional financing is great for your primary residence. Private finances generally won't lend. I don't on primary residences, but for investment flips, you make a cash offer, and when I say cash, not physically green cash. It's just called in this business cash offer. No financing, basically contingency. But I tell my borrowers that if you want to make a cash offer, generally speaking, most sellers are going to take a cash offer for less money than a person with institutional financing through Bank of America. I hate to keep using Bank of America, through whoever, right? An institutional lender, right? Because it's going to take longer and it's more contingencies. So let's say I'm going to charge $10,000, right, in interest and point fees, whatever. I tell my clients / borrowers, make your offer, cash offer, $10,000 less, you'll get the property probably, right? Tell the realtor, pays for my fee. So they just got let them close quick, and they don't have to go through the, I don't want to say aggravation, but process of, because private lenders, I don't really care about your credit. I just care about I don't care about your credit. I don't care about your income. I don't care about your expenses. I care about how much money you have to put down. Is it a good deal? And what's your exit strategy? How are you going to pay me off? Those are like the 3 things I look at. I can generally make a decision. I made a decision yesterday on a multi-million-dollar house, and it took us a half hour. We went and looked at it. We talked to the borrower. Boom. We committed. How long would that take to get and the seller accepted the buyer because of the cash offer. How long would that take another person that wants to do it as investment property, Airbnbs, to get a loan for that kind of money? 7 digits. Take a long time, right? Long time, a lot of paperwork. That particular borrower is self-employed. Ugh. So we made the decision in a half hour, and they get the property. They called us up last night and said it's good to go. So cash again, by the way, with respect to fees, we're not charging 7%. We're charging 12%, right? And we're charging 2 points generally. It ranges, but most private lenders around 12 and 2.
What are 2 points for?
2 points or whatever the loan amount is. So on $100,000, it'd be $2,000 at the closing. At $200,000, it's $4,000 at the closing. 2 percentage points right up front, right? So you got to pay that at the closing. Basically, we actually net fund it, but forget that. You got to pay the $2,000, the 2 points up front. Mm-hmm. Some private lenders charge 4 points, some 5 points, some 1 point. I don't know many 1. And the 12% is generally most private lenders charge interest only per month, like me. So if on a $200,000 loan, right, it would be, let's say 12%, 1% per month, which is, what's that? $2,000 a month. I said 200,000. Yep, $2,000 a month, right? So $2,000 a month would be the payment every month. And these are a lot of rehab people that do this, and a lot of flippers and tax sale people.
Generally about a year.
Yep, generally about a year.
Over a year.
Yep, and that's kind of how private finance is. It really, for owner-occupied properties, sometimes it works. Let's say if the person can't sell their house on a contract, but they got to close on a new house before they sell their house.
Right.
I've done that, but I say, listen, you can't occupy that new house until you pay me off, because I'm not giving you a loan on that new house. But generally speaking, I don't do that. But that does help sometimes. Sometimes I've seen that where the people just don't have enough money to buy that new house until they sell their house, so they're trapped.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah. So, and it's good. It's good for Rhode Island. I do Rhode Island and Mass, but I actually do a little bit of Florida too. But it's good for Rhode Island because these properties you can't get a mortgage on them because, I don't know, it was foreclosed on. And you got to close in 30 days, or somebody broke into the property, took all the heat, took all the copper out, all the heating, so you can't get a mortgage on it. You can't fix it up, and the seller's saying, I don't have the money to fix it, or there's violations on the property, or it doesn't meet, certain codes. And private lending is actually good. It's not like the old days where people think, you break people's legs to get your money. No, you don't. You foreclose, which is sad. But generally, I don't.
No broken legs.
Yeah, no. It's all legitimate. It's all in writing. We record mortgages. We sign promissory notes. The people are entitled. I encourage them. Get your own lawyer. Have them review our documents.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So that's private lending. A lot of people nervous with it, but just the words private lending, but it's nothing.
I think it's just
a high rate.
I think it's just also a good way for even, people who do have money and they're looking to start investing, or just diversify their investment. I think this is a great way to leverage your self-directed IRA. And obviously you have to
know what you're doing.
Know what you're doing. Yeah, and do your homework. But I think that's why it's important to have people like you where you're like, hey, like, what do you think about this deal? Or
right.
I know that there's a lot of other private lenders who are, asking other people to make an investment into their private lending as well.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of different options.
Be a little cautious, I think, with that because you don't know what you're investing in. As an investor, like I would, if I was somebody that doesn't know much about real estate and I want to get into it, I would call you up, Megan. I'd say, hey, do me a favor, go look at this property, give me the value of this before I go giving this person a mortgage. They're buying it for $420,000 and they want a $400,000 mortgage. Is that okay? Like what? They don't have a lot to put down. What's the property worth? I would hire an expert if the individual doesn't know enough about values of real estate. I don't, quite frankly. I have people go look at it. I don't have the time to go look at it. I mean, I could figure it out. I could go look at it.
Yeah, but at least you're like $30,000, $20,000. This is what it needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I have some clue. But if you don't have a clue and you want to get in, I have so many people call me, Glenn, can you place my money? And I'm nervous because these people don't know what they're doing. So they're relying on me. And if something goes wrong, I'm on the hook for them because I feel obligated because they relied on my expertise.
Right.
So it's so point being that, they should call you and you do a CMA for them as a lender,
Right. And you're typically looking for what in terms of your return? Like if you're looking at a property that someone's flipping.
So as a flipper or a lender, as a lender, I'm getting that 1% return and the 2 points up front, but I'm telling the buyer, and I'm all over the place, I want at least, let's say, 20% down.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes I say, oh my God, you're getting a great deal on this. I agree, because it's a buildable lot. You got on the side, and I know legally you can split it, So I think you're getting this price. You already have $60,000 in equity in this price, so I'll give you 100% financing. It's all over the place. Or you're
depends.
overpaying for this. I don't like this property also.
like
I'm going
this
to make
deal.
you put 30% down. My CMA came at much lower than what you're buying it for, because there's a bidding war right now with these people. So it all depends. I don't have set terms as far as how much you have to put down. Generally around 20%. But I have a lot of my borrowers that I've built up a good rapport with them, and I trust them, and I know they know what they're doing. But I get a lot of new borrowers. I don't know what they're doing, and I have to look at the property and vet it. And quite frankly, I protect them too. And I say, listen, you're
This is
overpaying
not a
for
good
this.
one.
So,
Yeah.
Or did you realize it's in a flood zone? Now you got to pay flood insurance, and that's harder to sell because now that disqualifies a lot of people, even though you're not on the ocean, But anyways, it's a lot of things you got to look out for. So if you're an individual that doesn't know a lot about real estate and wants to invest in private financing, speak to a professional first.
Absolutely. So the last question that I have for you guys today is, what books are you reading now or have read that you would want to talk about?
So, oddly enough, I just read Matt Sorensen's book on self-directed IRAs.
Okay.
Matt Sorensen,
So we got to read him. Yeah.
On self-directed
now
IRAs.
I always walk away with like homework that I need to do.
If you like podcasts more, he has a podcast on that book
as well.
Oh, okay.
That's
book,
what I
It's got a
recommend.
great book.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the
All
second
right.
edition. So I'm in the process of reading it now. But at my age, I
get
fall
you the
asleep. I start to read and I fall asleep. So it takes me a long time to read a book.
I hear you.
But
How about you? Do you have any good ones?
That I listen to the podcast.
You like his podcast?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Nice.
anything else,
How about
you
you?
guys? What? Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time. Really good at, you look at your week and sort of see what feels good, what's taking energy, what's giving energy, and what you're able to give and delegate to other people that can do it faster, quicker, better.
Oh,
So
Yeah, that
actually,
sounds
it's a
good.
really good one. He's really good.
yeah. I might read that after.
It is a good one. I'll send it to you.
right.
But thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank
on.
you. Thank you.
It was absolutely awesome. And that is it for today's episode of The Landlady Listens, where we turn vision into reality. Remember, success starts in your mind before it ever shows up in your life. Keep believing, keep building, and most importantly, keep taking action. So trust the process, bet on yourself, and go create the life that you deserve. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode for anyone who needs to hear it. And how can we get in touch with you guys?
So our phone number is 401-334-4770. My email is glenn@RI, as in Rhode Island, Real Estate Law, RIREALESTATELAW.com.
And then my same phone number, 401-334-4770. And then same exact thing, Brianna, BRIANNA, @RIRealestateLaw.com.
Love it. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Great job. Thanks. Thank you.
It's fun. That's it for today's episode of The Landlady, where we turn your vision into a reality. Remember, success starts in your mind before it ever shows up in your life. Keep believing, keep building, and more importantly, keep taking action. And until next time, trust the process, bet on yourself, and go create the life that you deserve. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Love you.